Hello, and welcome to the Creatrix Calling Module 2, Upgrading to Prosperity Consciousness and Uncovering Your Money Story. So I'm going to do a presentation for you today. I'm going to let you inside what it actually takes to be frequency alignment to that which you desire most. So you're here because you have a really big goal in your business. You have a really big launch plan. You have something that you want to step into. It's a big deal that you're here and you said yes to this. And so what we're going to be working on today is the frequency that you carry with your relationship to money and the current underlying patterns and story that you have with money. So I have a timer here for myself. I'm going to open this up the first 10 minutes with a story. So grab yourself a cup of tea, get comfortable, because I want to tell you my money story, because I truly believe that if you hear where I came from with money, you will believe that anything is possible. So I'm going to let you into my childhood and what I learned about money and the patterns that I was emulating from my parents, and then the pattern interrupt in my early 20s that I had with my mentor. So I'm going to share with you the moment and the question that changed everything for me about money, and how I was able to create a six-figure business in my 20s when I was really young, and have grown my business year over year, and have had kind of this pretty, not effortless, because I put in effort, but a pretty consistent flow of when I want to generate money, I know how to. And that wasn't always that way. And I used to literally dream about the day that that would be my reality, and that is my current reality. I have the things that I want. I live in a gorgeous home. I drive a Mercedes. I have nice things. I was able to hook my little sister up in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program with my old car and give her really easy payment so she can get a car. And be generous with other people. Be generous to myself and my body. And, I'm not perfect with money. There's still a lot for me to learn about growing and saving and as we all do. But what I do know is that there's a freedom that I have with money that wouldn't have been my reality if I didn't interrupt my pattern. And I definitely didn't learn it from my childhood and my parents. And it wasn't in my culture. It wasn't in my culture to be prosperous and to want so much and to have so many dreams and big visions for myself. So I grew up in a town called Ramona. It's a very, very small horse farming country town on the way outskirts of San Diego. So like 50 minutes inland through the mountains. And I want to share with you just a little bit about like my family structure and what I grew up inside of, so that you understand where I came from. So let's see. I'm going to do the abbreviated version. But so my parents were in their 40s when they had me. My dad was 44. My mom was 40. And my father, rewinding to his early 20s, he was one of the first trained fighter pilots in the Vietnam War. So he was flying the Cobra helicopters. They were weapons of war. They dropped bombs and they were responsible for killing thousands of people. And he grew up at the age of 13. He was the head of his home. His father was in the city quarantine in Philadelphia for tuberculosis and died there. He was 13. In the 50s and 60s, I think. And so my dad was providing for the family. They were dirt poor. My dad, all he wanted to do was be a pilot. So he went into the service, and they sent him to the Vietnam War. And in order to keep the pilots awake all night, they gave them methamphetamine. So all of the pilots and a lot of the soldiers left the Vietnam War extremely addicted to methamphetamine. So this was an addiction my dad had for about 15 years or so. And he got trained as a lawyer being in the service, and he had multiple Purple Hearts, and he was in a helicopter crash where he was the only one that survived in the Vietnam War. And so my dad had a lot of PTSD. He had a lot of mental trauma, and he had a lot of heaviness in his energy. And later on, so he had his one helicopter crash in Vietnam War, and then he used to be a helicopter pilot in Los Angeles for the LA News and taking people from LA to Catalina Island. And while he was flying over the Pacific, the propeller apart in the plane flew off. And again, he was in a helicopter crash where a 5-year-old boy drowned in his arms, and my dad's jaw was ripped open. And so just lots and lots of trauma. So by the time my mom met my dad, she was this very like naive Christian girl and did not know he had a methamphetamine addiction. They met and they were married within 3 months, and then pregnant with my brother just 6 weeks after that, because they were like, oh my gosh, we're reaching our 40s. Let's do this. And so my dad's meth addiction got really, really bad. And he was representing the Hells Angels in Los Angeles. And he was, a very put together, charismatic guy, but extremely addicted to drugs and with insane PTSD that our country didn't know how to support our soldiers in. And I think we're kind of getting it now, just a little bit. But back then it was just not talked about. It was like, lock that in the closet and throw away the key kind of thing. So, let's see where I pick up here. So my parents meet. The meth addiction is really bad. My mom leaves my dad for 2 years. By the time I was 2 years old, we moved into a big house in Ramona. My dad got clean, never touched drugs again. But my mom she went through so much trauma with my dad that she resented him. And they pretty much hated each other. I can say that. They pretty much hated each other. And the fighting was just unbelievable. I don't think any child should have to witness that much fighting and that much chaos in a home. And my parents were roommates. They never shared a bedroom. It was always really embarrassing for me when I had friends sleep over. I'm like, this is my dad's room. This is my mom's room. Most of the time my dad's on the couch, and they fight a lot. So I'm like, I'm sorry. And fighting was always about money. Money was always the issue. Money was always the trauma and the drama in my family. And my dad was a lawyer and my mom was a psychiatric nurse. And what I learned was this feast and famine. So either my dad settled a huge case and he generated a lot of revenue and we bought a sailboat and we went on trips and we went to Florida and we traveled, or they had spent every dollar that they have. My parents never once had a savings account. So like literally the bills weren't getting paid and I didn't have money for school pictures. I remember one Christmas we had like that secret Santa shop at school and my mom was like, I wish I could give you any money, but like, here's what I found in the piggy bank. And it was like $2.50. And I remember just being crushed that I couldn't shop at Secret Santa. And then like the next month I could have whatever I wanted at Toys R Us. So I never knew what was happening with money, and I was always extremely uncomfortable with money. And my parents were gamblers. So we would go to Las Vegas and they would just like tear through thousands of dollars. And I remember as a kid having so much anxiety being like, we shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing this. And so what I saw as a kid is that money is fighting. Money is angry. Money is disruptive. Money is the root of a lot of fighting and a lot of chaos in the home. And I promised myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just not going to fight about money with my partner. It's just not worth it. I'd rather live really simply and responsibly than fight the way my parents are. It was just so much contention all the time. And then, fast forward until I am 18 years old. The year is 2007. And we're right at the brink of the economic collapse in America. So the housing crisis started happening first. And my first year in college, I went into college in 2007, 2008. And that's when the economy absolutely tanked. So my dad had way over leveraged credit. So he had a bunch of investment properties that went bad. He had his entire law firm to keep afloat, and people weren't going to get that type of law that my dad did, which was estate planning. It was kind of like a need to have someday, but a not right now need. And so during all of this chaos of the economic collapse and all of the stress on my dad and, his history with not having taken care of himself, he developed ulcerative colitis. And it was a sickness that was so devastating to watch. He was handsome, he was tall, he was robust and charismatic, shriveled into a skeleton where his like cheeks were sunken in, and he was just so frail. And ulcerative colitis, if you know what that is it's just a very, very painful and embarrassing and very terrible gut disease where basically your gut is like rotting and ulcering from the inside out. And it's just incredibly painful. And the doctors put him on steroids called prednisone, and he started losing his mind. So it kind of just tipped him over the edge. I don't know much about that drug and that steroid, but for my dad in particular, he lost his mind mentally. So he got 2 DUIs. He was put in a mental hospital because they wouldn't release him after he got his DUI because he wasn't right in the brain. And all of his trauma was coming back to him. And mind you, I'm in my first year of college. So I'm just trying to keep everything afloat in college, but I know how terrible it is in my family. And the whole time I'm thinking of just like, if we had money, this would be better. if the economy hadn't tanked, this wouldn't be happening. My dad would be healthy right now. And my mom's just checked out, can't handle it. She had lost her job and kind of just went into retirement. She was, in her 60s at that point. So we're approaching her 60s. So this year for me was just so much chaos, and I felt like I didn't have money to control it and I didn't have power. And then after about a year of this, my brother walked in my room in college. He said, "Can I come over and talk to you?" I said, "Sure." He walks in my room and he said, "Dad's dead." And I felt like, yeah, that, makes sense. But like, how? And he said he killed himself. He hanged himself. So my perception and my reality was that my father had taken his life, the very permanent decision to take his life because he couldn't get his money handled, and that he was worth more dead than he was alive. So in order to care for his family and his 2 children in college, he doesn't exist on the planet anymore. And the amount of guilt and shame that I felt that I wasn't able to support myself and pay for my college and take care of myself, and like how much I had relied on him to get me into college and get me set up at San Diego State. And I was just so angry at money. I was angry at the economy. I was angry that that our system had collapsed because of greed and because of people taking advantage of the system. I was angry that this thing called money was the destructor and the ruiner of my life. And I hated money. I hated that I had to play this money game. Like, there was so much rage inside of me, and it was really directed towards money. I had a passionate hate towards money. And I didn't even realize that had happened. Like, all of the trauma from childhood and all of the just fear with my dad, I didn't realize how much evidence I had built up around my disgust and disdain for money until I started my business. And I realized that, oh my gosh, I'm not making money and I'm terrified of money. And 6 months after my dad passed, I met a boyfriend who was a millionaire. And I chose safety over love. Like, he was great. We had our spiritual awakenings together. We had a beautiful, sweet relationship, but I didn't feel it with him. And I knew I didn't feel it from the beginning, but he offered me a life of safety. And it was a cop-out. It was like, okay, I don't have to be in my power. I can travel first class internationally, and I can drive up the first Tesla Roadster that ever came out, and I'm safe. I'm safe here. And we were together for 4 years, and he saw that I was falling out of love, and he broke up with me. And in that moment that we broke up, I was just turning 25. And there was this like guttural fear, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to support myself in this life, but I don't know how to. And this business that I've created, I started an events company called Inner Goddess Unleashed. It was the largest women's empowerment company events in San Diego, 150 women per quarter. And I got nominated as San Diego's top 30 under 30 entrepreneurs because of it. And I was dabbling in coaching because I had all these leads from the events, but I was doing like these group coaching programs called the Bliss Project. And it was $70 a month. So I was doing a lot and like putting a lot into my business and like really showing up as an early entrepreneur. I started all this when I was 23, but it wasn't until I was 25 and broken up with that I was like, I'm going to have to figure this out. And a lot of my clients were having money problems. And I remember after I had a client session one day, I wrote in my journal, it's like, all right, life, I need to really figure this out. I can't keep coaching people. And I was doing like life coaching and encouragement, women's empowerment stuff. And it had come along with my own personal like development and awakening journey because I sought so much healing after my dad's death to process it. So I did a lot of landmark and energy healing and meditation and everything under the sun. Had a little bit of money to play with. I went all into my development. And so naturally my coaching business started because I wanted to help others, and I was having a massive spiritual awakening and I was seeing the world differently. And I remember just this day I was journaling and I said, if I'm going to be coaching people, I want to get clear on why it is that I'm having so much difficulty with making money in my business and why there's so much fear. I was having dreams about panic of being homeless. It was like just eating away at my system, and I lived in so much terror. And at the next day, kid you not, the next day, my mentor, who I had speak at some of my events, her name was Corey Michelle. She invited me to her class called Becoming Money. And it was a sold out class. and there were no tickets left. And she's like, Jolie, I just got a hit that you're supposed to be here. So I sat in the front seat and I was just like, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm at a sold out event. She gifted me this ticket. I know I'm supposed to be here because I just had this journaling, this like profound demand of the universe in this journaling exercise. And she goes through this whole workbook and everything was like, mind is being blown. But there was one question that changed it for me. And so it was Corey Michelle, and the body of work that she was teaching is called Access Consciousness. And the question that she asked me was, if money were your lover, would money want to have sex with you? And I was like, what? Oh my God. It clicked for me. Like in an instant, it clicked. I saw that money is an energy that I need to develop a relationship with. And if I have a relationship with somebody and I'm saying, you are the reason my father committed suicide. I hate you. I wish I could exist on the planet without you. You are the ruiner of worlds. We would have a pretty shitty relationship. And I started to talk to money, and I wrote a letter to money by saying, like, I am so sorry I've been blaming you. You are the innocent third party in this. I want nothing more than a relationship with you. And I would just like seduce money and talk to money and become a lover of money. And it took a moment for it to click and a couple months for me to see the shift. But that's when my business started taking off. This is when I started getting my first $1,500 a month retainer clients. I got in one single month, I got 3 retainer clients. One was $1,000 a month, $1,800 a month, and $1,500 a month. And I was 25 years old. And I was like, oh my God, I can do this entrepreneurship thing with retainer rates like that. Like, I'm set. I can really do this. Because at first I was like, I don't know, maybe I need to get a job. And so I had, been doing the coaching, gotten really good at creating at sales, because I had a background in sales since I was 16 years old. And I just started rocking it. I really started just rocking it with money. And I realized that I had a big relationship to repair with money, that I spent my whole life with money, having so much just angst built up. And I started realizing that money is one of the kindest things I can do for myself, is to be a high earner in this life. If I really care about affecting human consciousness and bringing light to the planet and making a difference in this world, I need to have resources. And my most natural state is prosperity. I love the state of opulence. I love the state of prospering. I love the state of being able to be generous and kind and contributive to others. And so it is my most natural state, and it is your most natural state. We were never meant to come to this planet to struggle and to strain. And so there's a writing exercise I'm going to queue up for you at the end of this recording before I go into my presentation here. But I share with you that story because I care so deeply that you know that anything is possible. Whatever money story you have right now, whatever you've been telling yourself, it is entirely reprogrammable. And so your story with money may be like, oh, we're good. I just don't pay attention to it so much. It stays over there and we're good. I just don't really look at it. That doesn't work in a relationship. Or it could be something like, oh, I mostly count on my husband, and then I do sometimes. Or I wish money didn't exist. Money is the root of all evil. Like, you have some sort of script and some sort of story running that I'm here to help reverse for you and to create an inquiry around and break through from. Because if you're here to create a 5 and multiple 5 and 6-figure launches, we have to create the energetic space for a new reality to be possible. And we all know the great law of attraction, that like attracts like. And it says real is the law of gravity. And if you have something in the background being like, I'm scared of money, every time I make it, I spend it, whatever your neuroses is about money, now is a time to get real with yourself and tell the truth about the patterns that you have with money so that we can transform them. So just a quick fill in the rest of that story there. I started hitting 10K months. I started getting really good at the business stuff. I started, really taking off my coaching programs. And then that's when I birthed 2 years after that. And when I was 27, I birthed Prosperity Posse, which was my greatest creation, which was the catalyst for what was Creatrix Calling, which is where I started doing launch incubator classes for coaches and healers and consultants of all kinds. And I had really found my niche. When I was 16 years old, I started in a company in sales, and I was it was a tanning salon spa chain, which like self-service spa services. And I was the top in the company at 16 years old out of 30 locations. I was just good at connecting with people. That's literally all it is. I cared about people and I was interested in people. And then I was bold and I would go for the sale. And then I was the district sales trainer when I was 18 years old, and helped like do the training manuals and train the whole sales team by the time I was 21. And then pretty much after that, I started my hair extension company in college and learned how to do a method of hair extensions that I did for all the sorority girls. And so besides that district sales training position, I've never really had a 9-to-5 job. I dabbled in real estate for a hot minute there for like 8 months, made a good investment property in 2012. I don't know. I just want to fill you guys in on that. And then here I am now with Creatrix Calling, and there's a lot of abundance around me. I just sold out. I just had my biggest launch to date doing a book publishing course, just shy of a 6-figure launch. And it just feels like it becomes more effortless. Like there's a momentum that picks up that I truly used to dream about. So if I can do it, if I can transform the pain and the drama and the trauma that I went through, then you can do it too. And I'm going to queue up an exercise for you at the end of this presentation that helps you really develop this relationship with money. Because if we look at money as our lover, we get really interested in the subtle dynamics of what we're putting in the space. If we're not counting our money, we're not being with our money, we're pushing it away. And when you push away somebody in a relationship, they're going to lose interest in you real fast and find somebody that's interested in them. So this is your opportunity with this presentation to get really real with yourself and tell the truth about where you've been with money and what the story and the script is that you have running, and to just take it to the next level. You know, maybe your thing is someone's going to come in and save me, or someone else is going to do it for me. And this is my encouragement to you, is to find that financial sovereignty, to take the power into your own hands and to really create some magic, because money is going to follow the value that you provide in the world. And so if you're stepping up your value and your light work and your services, money will naturally follow. So with that, I'm going to take a sip of water. Let's get into the presentation here. So we've got upgrading to prosperity consciousness, module 2. All right, love, your brain can do this. Let me read you this quote by Dr. Joe Dispenza from his book, Evolve Your Brain. It takes awareness and effort to break the cycle of a thinking process that has become unconscious. First, we need to step out of our routine so we can look at our lives. Through contemplation and self-reflection, we can become aware of our unconscious scripts. Then we must observe these thoughts without responding to them, so that they no longer initiate the automatic chemical responses that produce habitual behavior. Within all of us, we possess a level of self-awareness that can observe our thinking. We must learn how to separate from these programs, and when we do, we can willfully have dominion over them. Ultimately, we can exercise control over our thoughts. In doing so, we are neurologically breaking apart thoughts that have become hardwired in our brain. So let's take a look at this. Automatic chemical responses that produce habitual behavior. So this is what I want you to really start taking a look at. Like, what is the thing that constantly triggers you with money? Is it your partner talking about it? Is it not liking where you want to live, where you're currently living? Is it wishing you could do something but you can't? Is it every time you look at your bank account? Is it like ignoring things until you're in the negative and you're like, oh shit, or ignoring bills? So what we need to do is disrupt this automatic response that's been happening and produce a new behavior, a new habit. So we're going to be working with this over the coming weeks and months to produce a new habit for the way that you are able to be with money. And even if you feel like you have a great relationship with money, this is just meant to fine tune it. So wherever you are, I want you to exponentialize the way that you're able to be with, receive, and be in relationship with money. So the big problem here is that money is unconscious. In the collective consciousness, money equals fear. There's fear pulsing through the consciousness of humans when it comes to money. Nothing will disrupt your system, like the feeling of scarcity. Like you want to do something so badly, but you don't have the resources to do so, that there's lack, that there's not enoughness. And this is really primal. It comes from a place when we used to have not enough food. And now we still have these things firing, and we still have scarcity firing when there is enough. And there is enough in the market, and there is enough opportunity. We just need to awaken that creative opportunity inside of you. And this is what the Creatrix is. She sees opportunities. She's willing to go for it. She creates her experience. She doesn't wait for anybody else to give her permission to do so. She's out there in the market. She's in a free market. And she realizes that there is an infinite source of money that she can tap into. And so this is what I'm really excited to help you with, dear, is to start uncovering what your unconscious patterns are and to take this to the next level. And to write a new story from the collective consciousness, to not play the fear game. I talked to a lot of people, hundreds of people over the years, that they tell me what happens to their body when they're in scarcity. Like they wake up and it's like this shooting pain through their heart, or their whole body is contracting. Like it is not a comfortable or kind thing to do to your body to stay in scarcity. So we're here to break this. We're here in Creatrix Calling to get your revenue to a point where a whole new reality is possible, but we need you to believe that it's possible. I need you to understand the way that your brain works, and that there's always a way to heal. There's always a way to repattern. Just because something's been a certain way for a particular amount of time doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. Okay, so here is where I got a lot of the learnings that I'm going to share with you today. So Abraham Hicks and Law of Attraction. Love me some Abraham Hicks. I'm actually going to see them here in Austin. And I think it's a really big deal, like the way that you feel good and the way that your energy and essence is to be able to attract. I've worked with various energy healers over the years, so many different healers, and done a lot of work around my own unconscious scripts around money. I've done healing work like EMDR, rapid eye movement, TRE, trauma release exercise, unconscious reprogramming, hypnosis, psychic work, tarot, past life. I mean, everything we could possibly do, I've done it. Access consciousness is a big, you'll feel a lot of influence of access consciousness here, because that was the original workshop that I went to that just like exploded my consciousness with money. So I really give a lot of credit to Access Consciousness and Corey Michelle. Feel free to look them up. They have really great programs. And I love to give credit where credit is due. And I think that we all should get in the habit of crediting where our stuff comes from. So this is the combination. And then working in sales for over 10 years. I think it was longer now. Let's see, it was 16. Yeah, about 12, 14 years. I mean, I was always a salesperson from the time I was a little girl. I was like that kid hustling fruit stands and neighborhood markets. And I've always been entrepreneurial, and I've always loved to create. So this is the kind of the blend of where these lessons came from. All right, let's get into this. What is money really? A choice multiplier. So it's a tool that helps you choose the things that you want to in life. Choose where you want to live, the experiences you want to have, the way you want to be generous with yourself. And the more money you have, the more choices you have. It's really, really quite the simple equation. It's a measure of gratitude. So how much people are grateful for your presence, money will follow. If you focus on how many people can I make grateful for my presence today and just like rock their world, money is the energy that follows that. It's a measure of your capacity to receive. So women, I always have to talk to clients that are hitting their capacity of their own self-worth, of their own belief that it's possible. And that's why we're here in Creatrix Calling, giving you a goal that's just beyond what you've received in the past, because I want you to experience a new edge, a new level. So this is from Access Consciousness. It's needed by our bodies and not our souls. Because when we are just souls floating around as pure consciousness, we don't need money. Our bodies are the thing that needs money on this planet. And so one of the most potent acts of self-love is to be a creator of money. And what I can do with my body and the way that I can eat and the way that I can pamper my body changes hugely when I'm in my prosperity. So putting our body last is quite cruel. And honestly, the kindest thing you can do for a human experience is how to learn how to create prosperously, to really step into your creatrix and go there with yourself. I mean, it's not fun to be in scarcity. It's not fun to do the things that you want to do, but you can't do. And so involve your body in the creation process. Ask the question, body, what would you like? If you want to eat organic, delicious, all of the things, the gluten-free and the vegan and the everything that there is to have out there, then help me create money. Help me generate the energy today that will give you the best possible experience of life. So let your body in on the creation process because your body wants it. And then let your business be your sugar daddy or your sugar mama. I love feeling like my business takes care of me. I love that we get to be entrepreneurs that write off our meals and write off experiences, and we get to go to workshops and trainings, and we get to, that's so much freedom, you guys. We get to say what our training is. Like if I want to go to Bali and go to Awesomeness Fest, or I want to go to Summit at Sea and drop 5K on a entrepreneur cruise, I'm like, that's my business taking care of me. And that's just so cool. It's so cool that we live in a free market, that we're able to go out there and determine our value and own our value and create from that place. I mean, I went to Cuba this last summer, and it's just like, it's so unfathomable in their world that they would even be able to do that. It's completely illegal to create any business. Everything is owned by the government. And so here in the West, we are so fortunate and so lucky that we get to determine our own value. We get to say how much we are worth. We get to take care of our bodies in this way. We get to let our businesses be our sugar daddy, sugar mamas. So let's take advantage of that, you know? Let's like, if not us, then who? Okay, what is money not? Money is not an answer to your problem of not feeling good. I think we all kind of know money won't buy you happiness. And sometimes it feels like you almost need to make the money to realize that that's not the thing. And I've been there. I've been with my months where I'm like at multiple 5-figure months. And I'm like, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. And so don't make money to be the thing that is the answer to you not feeling good. Feeling good comes first. Feeling good comes first. So it's not a measure of how good of a person you are, or how skilled of a service provider you are. We all know that it's kind of like the best marketer wins, right? It's not even like the best, it's not even the person with the best product necessarily. I mean, we definitely have to have more integrity in the way that let me pause this really quickly because I'm getting some background noise. I think I'm good. Okay. So a measure of how good a person you are, like honestly, you guys, we can have people that are the best healers in the world. We can have the best service providers, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get paid at that level. You have to determine your worth. You have to own your worth. You have to do the energy work and the frequency clearing to be able to receive at a new capacity, because just because you're the best at what you do doesn't mean that money is going to follow. And so it's also not a dollar for value unit system, like $1 million equals 1 million units of effort. It doesn't work that way. We are trained to believe that it is that way. Like, okay, if I put in 1 hour of this, I'll get this back, which is why you guys have probably experienced in your business, like I'm doing all this work, I'm exhausting myself with all of these activities, I'm so busy, but I'm not seeing the money, because that's not how the way that money works. We have to learn the real money, the real way that money actually works. And money is an energy. Money is it's a very alive, real relationship that we have to learn how to cultivate and get very close with. So the great news is that money is an imaginary system created inside the minds of humans, and we can play with it and manipulate the game the same way we created it with our minds. So this is why I'm so excited for you to listen to my Expanding Your Capacity to Receive Money meditation, because I kind of lead you through a process where you start to realize that money is something for you to claim. If you don't claim it, nobody else is going to hand it to you. Nobody's going to be like, oh my gosh, you're worth so much more, I'm going to pay you double. Never. We have to be the ones that claim it and own it and find our edge and continually have that like inner competition with ourselves to outcreate our last thing, to keep growing, to keep creating. Because as soon as we're bored and unstimulated, there's not much creation energy there. So inside the minds of humans is where money lives. No other animal species has a monetary system like this. And so in the minds of our human brain is the way that we can alter it. Money used to be backed by gold, and it's just not anymore. It's just simply an agreed upon value. And from that place, we get to create our own value. It's hugely great news. I hope you're excited about that, because that means you can create whatever the fuck you want, which is really freaking good news. So the power of visualization. So you must be able to see it and feel it and believe it for it to come into your experience. You have to be a frequency match to it. And we created these big launch goal plans. We created these numbers that are big and expansive. And your job right now is to feel it and believe it. To feel that number, to know that it is possible, to know that you deserve it. I need you to get on this frequency level. This is so key. I cannot stress this enough. You can trust me that through hundreds and hundreds of people that I've personally taken and coached through this process, the ones that believed their worth, they did the energy work, they did my meditations, they owned it, they wanted it more than anything, were the ones that had it happen. And the ones that were like, oh, I don't know, is the market gonna pay that? And like, I don't know if I have what it takes. They weren't a frequency match. They kept pushing it away. And so what I need you to do is don't underestimate this power of the power of visualization. Everything happens on the ethereal plane first. So what we need you to do is to see it, feel it, believe it, do the frequency work that it takes, do my meditations every single day for as long as it takes for you to feel your number. I want you to own your launch number like it becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of your essence, like a non-negotiable belief. If you have that, if you can hold that for yourself and do your best possible to hold that for yourself, I can do so much with you. I can do so much with you when you can hold that value. So look, there's a million books on money and strategy. Why doesn't everybody get it by now? It's because they're stuck in their beliefs. They're not able to create that frequency match. The beliefs are so strong that are generating the chemical response of the scarcity that it's such a cycle to break. And it's really similar to the cycle of weight loss. It's like people are in their beliefs about food and body and their habits and their addictions to food. And for some people, it totally clicks for them. They keep the weight off for the rest of their life. And it's just like, of course, that was easy. I flipped my lifestyle around. For some people, they die not having had it figured out. And a lot of people take scarcity to their grave. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many people live in scarcity? I mean, the last breath my dad took was in scarcity and in not enoughness and in shame. And so I ask you to transform your lineage of whoever came before you that passed on scarcity. And it's not an easy task. It's definitely a big task, but you can do it. You're so powerful. And so I need you to do whatever it takes to believe that number is possible for you. All right, let's talk about this for a moment. Refining what it means to be a woman. So women are relatively new to making money in our history. I'm going to read you this kind of quote from below from one advisor. It says, in the 1960s, women gained the right to open a bank account. 1960s, you guys, the right to open a bank account. Are you kidding me? That's like just shy of 80 years ago. What? 80 years ago in our humanity in America, we could have a bank account. That's a handful of generations. Shortly after, 1974, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act passed, was supposed to prohibit credit discrimination based upon gender. So in the 60s and 70s, you wanted a bank account, you wanted to be a business owner, you wanted a credit card, sorry, we needed your husband's signatures. And if you were not married, you're not getting a credit card, you're not starting a business. So you guys, oh my gosh, this is crazy what the opportunity that we finally have. I'm not like this huge aggressive feminist, but like, fuck, we haven't had the opportunity. We haven't been seen as capable in business. We haven't been, it's just so new. And then with, Facebook's only 10 years old. So internet businesses using social strategy is still so new. So we're figuring out in so many ways. And the thing that we're figuring out is this masculine feminine balance, because making money takes a masculine energy. It does. We have to turn on our masculine to make money. It's like simply physics. It's a part of the way that the world and the energy works, but we need to learn how to balance it. We need to know how to come back into our feminine and not become obsessed, because our bodies were not designed to become obsessed about making money. So this is the edge that we all are like straddling, which is like, fuck yes, I'm woman, hear me roar. I will create a 6 and multiple 6-figure business. I will create massive contribution to the planet. And it is so important that in doing this, we have to maintain the feminine balance. We have to structure our calendar to be able to take care of ourselves. We have to prioritize relaxing. We are not designed to stay in a masculine force all the time. We're going to burn out our adrenals. We're going to get fatigued. We're not going to have a business. So the masculine energy is like learning to hunt for that which we desire, and the energy of needing it. We never needed money. And this is a kind of a funny thing that people have fought me on before. But I worked with my mentor around this, Arturo in San Diego. Learning to hunt. So you have to be hungry to go out and kill. You're not hungry if you're like, maybe tomorrow I'll eat. You're not going to have, it's very primal. You're not going to have the desire to get your bow and arrow and find that animal to kill, or go spend all day hunting berries. It is hunger. It is the energy of needing to eat that has us do the thing. And so we don't want to be needy with our clients and be like, I need you, right? There's like a little bit of a paradox here, but we need to want it. We need to need it. I mean, if I stayed married to a millionaire for the rest of my life, there would be no freaking way I would have the business that I do now. It would be a lot harder. I would have to find a way of needing it. And so I need you to find that like need, like what is at stake for you? The women before us in this country didn't have the opportunity. I mean, the 50s, you couldn't go get a bank account. You couldn't go get a credit card. You couldn't start your business. We need to be extremely grateful for the time that we live in and take advantage of it. Okay. The lies us women believe. So here's the deal. Women have a tendency to be really relationship oriented, to be really nurturing, not wanting to step on people's toes. And so here's the things, some of the things that I've seen over the years that holds them back from making money. So feeling that if we win, we take away from somebody else's win. Like somehow, I don't want to shine too bright. I don't want to make people uncomfortable. If I'm a 6 and multiple 6 and 7-figure business owner, like, oh, who's that going to offend? And so these are the beliefs that we have to start slowly chipping away, and like, shine your bright girl, shine your light brightly, shine to the point where like you're inspiring the people around you to win too. And that feeling like if we spend on ourselves, we take away from somebody else. Like, oh, I have to give to my family first, or I have to give to other people before I spend on me. Feeling that if we want it, we're only just becoming overly powerful and dominant women, that is just, we're going to be too overly burnt out in our masculine. If I want a 6-figure or 7-figure business, I'm going to be too masculine. We actually can do it. It takes skill and it takes practice and it takes a lot of trial and error, but we can do it. And then feeling like if we hustle, we diminish our men. So there's a lot of women that are like, I don't want to outperform my husband. I want to outperform my partner. I don't want to make myself undateable. I don't want to earn what my parents made. I know for me, when I was thinking back to my dad and how hard he worked to make 6 figures in his law firm, I'm like, whoa, if I make 6 figures really easily, I don't want to outperform him. And so my question is, who are you not wanting to outperform? Who is it scary to make more than? Is it your parents? Is it your partner? Is it your friends? We got to look at this stuff, dear. We have to look at this stuff, because this is the insidious beliefs that keep you from winning. And we have to transform them. Awareness is the first step. So let me remind you, your winning is the greatest gift to the world. You being a force of light, you being an inspiration for what's possible, you lighting up people around you is the greatest gift that you could give. You being in your power, you owning your worth, you showing up unapologetically and saying, hey, women, hey, humans, hey, life, this works. If you have a dream, if you put your mind to something, you can create it. I know for me, how I've been an inspiration and like how I've moved the people around me, because I'm like, this is possible. I have an unwavering belief in what's possible in entrepreneurship because I've done it. I didn't sit around talking about doing it. I did it. I did the thing. So you came here to thrive, to play, to experience, and to enjoy, and to live in expansion, to experience what life has to offer you. And why are you creating for just enough? Why is it always just enough money to like pay the rent and pay the bills? And why not play at your full soul's capacity? You are an infinite being. I want you to remember your power and your potency and reclaim it. And I want you to own your expensive. I want you to own your high end, because you are brilliant and you deserve it. And you're going to inspire other people to own their worth and their high end. When you are rocking prosperity consciousness, your clients will always have enough to pay for what you ask of them. So it's just amazing to me how I've witnessed this transformation in myself. Like, because I'm just in so much ownership of money, and I'm like, it takes a lot to make me uncomfortable in money conversations. I'm super open about my money, super open about numbers, really open about the launches that I have and how like quickly I can turn out launches. And like, it's like, there's so much flow in it and alignment in it. And I don't hustle and force and like freak out the way that I used to. I rock my prosperity consciousness. I rock my Creatrix. I'm so unapologetic about the things that I want and the way that I treat myself and the way that I indulge at times and the way that I play and the way that I show up for my friends. And so me being like this, it's just shocking to me how much people respond to that. Like, I don't have people trying to barter, give discounts. Like, that's just not even in my space. So many people can afford me because they want the thing that I have. So I need you to rock your prosperity consciousness. And look, fake it till you make it, dear. That's gotten me really far in life. Like, if I was prosperous right now, I would do this. And it's not about spending more. It's not about being an overconsumer. It's about owning the frequency of prospering and abundance. So let's take a look at this. What creates poverty and scarcity versus abundance and prosperity? So here are the things that keep you stuck in scarcity. Judging others for having money. So this may not be as obvious to you, but if, you walk by, I remember I was like with a friend and walking by these beach houses in San Diego, and she's like, oh, must be nice, rich people. I'm looking at it, I'm like, you just cut yourself off from having that. So if you're judging people for being rich and judging people for being successful, you have to be really careful with this in social media. If you see somebody posting their numbers and you're like, oh, she doesn't deserve it, or gosh, she's not even that smart, how does she get there? Be really careful about these beliefs, because the judgment keeps you stuck. And then comparing yourself to others, like, oh my God, how did she do it so fast? I want to be further. I want to have that. That's an energy of contraction. Saying I want that, but I can't have it, and denying yourself pleasure. So it's be in choice about the things that you choose, and choose not to have certain things. But if you walk into Whole Foods, you're like, I wish I could shop here, but I can't, whole paycheck. These are the things that cramp your prosperity, cramp your Creatrix. And judging yourself for not being further faster. Like, I should have already had this by now. Oh my God, I made investments that didn't pay off in my business and that should have. And like, being in any sort of resistance to who you are and where you are right now. So judging yourself, shaming yourself, putting guilt on yourself, those are emotions that are so low frequency. It's doing the exact opposite that I'm asking you to do, which is own your number. This is taking you in the other direction. So I need you to tell the truth about where you see yourself in these things. So choosing to be the victim of your money and circumstance and your addiction to being right about how wrong you are. So being the victim to your money is like, oh, student debt, the government, I never had a chance at life to get ahead because healthcare, because taxes, because all of these things. Like, don't let money play you, dear. You get to play money. Don't let the system play you. We're incredibly lucky to be in the system that we are. It's like it's one of the freest systems in the entire world. And if you create yourself to be the victim, you're only going to keep yourself stuck. Blaming the president, blaming politics. I need you to tell the truth about yourself to where you're still being like, ugh, California house prices, or whatever the thing is that sticks you. Because if you're the victim and you're addicted to being wrong and for somebody else to be wrong, that's cramping the energy here. All right, having conversations about lack and scarcity. Oh my gosh, I need you to stop doing this if you're doing this at all. If you're giving in to the collective fear of the unconscious of like, yeah, gas is so expensive, house prices are so expensive. I would need you to have more choice in your conversation. Just being like, yeah, I'm like choosing not to be at that restaurant. Just I'm putting my money in different places. But to be like, I'm, complaining, being the victim of something. So choose powerfully and look, own your no. Own your like, hey, that's too expensive. I'm not choosing that. That energy healer is $600 for a 15-minute session. That's a no for me. I'm choosing not to. But to be in the energy of complaining, that's where we're getting into those negative emotions that cramp your prosperity. So having an unwillingness to look at, measure, and track money. So if you are letting things fall between the cracks or not setting yourself up, like only having just enough and putting yourself in fear every time you need to create money, it's there's a contraction there. So feeling bad and guilty about debt. And this is a huge one. Getting in credit card debt, getting in student loan debt, getting in medical debt. That guilt and that shame and that wish I could take it back is just like taking your energy and like squeezing and contracting it, keeping it stuck. We need to open it. We need to breathe into it. We need to expand and we need to release the emotions of guilt. And this is why my meditation is going to be really important to go along with this, because we need to let that guilt fall down our grounding cord. Energy is a very real substance that lives in the body that can very much affect your launch if you let it. And then believing that somehow you have the poor gene, and no matter what you do, nothing will change. My parents were poor, my grandparents, and everything in my lineage. And I think there's some cultures that perpetuate this more than others. And we have to break free. We have to change our lineage. And you may be the one that changes that story for your family. In summary, any thought, feeling, and emotion that makes you feel bad, contracted, and heavy when you think about money or look at money is keeping you stuck. All right, so this is where the vibration it's incredibly important, because I need you to be in your expansion. I need you to be aware of what's keeping you contracted. I need you to tell the truth about yourself. So poverty and scarcity, I did a poll with some of my clients, and this is some of the things that they said that makes them feel like they're in poverty and scarcity. So clutter around their house, being disorganized, having a dirty house, a dirty dog, and a dirty car, obsessing over money, having broken things in the house that you keep meaning to fix but you keep putting off, having old clothes laying around, having buyer's remorse and guilt when you buy something for yourself, denying yourself the experiences you most want, worrying about your family and your future. The energy of worry will just get you guys. We have to break the cycle of worry and complaining. So I'd be curious to add some of yours to this list. Like, what are the things that keep you feeling poverty and scarcity? For me, it's funny. I grew up in a really old house, and old things like old cabinets and old homes make me feel like really scarce. So like the house I'm living in right now is like built in 2010. Like I love new things. I love like granite, and it just makes me feel like I'm prosperous. Like when I think I'm past the point in my life where I'd ever rented like an outdated home. And that's just my personal thing because of the house I grew up in. And then clutter, like my parents were pack rats. We had at least 3 rooms in our house. We had like a 5-bedroom house. 3 of those rooms were like pack rat rooms. They were just filled to the brim with shit. And so I love keeping like a clear space. So what are the things that keep you in poverty and scarcity? All right, let's talk about prosperity. Let's switch it. So celebrating others for having money and success. You see somebody online who's winning, who's crushing it, who's like all of a sudden come out of the woodworks with a 6-figure, 7-figure business, you celebrate them. You're like, good on you, girl. Thank you for being an example of what's possible. The energy of celebration is incredibly expansive, and it has to be authentic. So find a place in you that wants to celebrate. Own your path is perfect and be grateful for where you are right now in this moment. Let's forgive ourselves a little bit. Let's give ourselves a little grace for where we've been in the past. And let's create from a new slate. Let's let this be a moment where we recreate our future. And then look, if you have debt, I need you to use a different word here. This is from Access Consciousness. I need you to start saying past expenditures. Debt has a huge, heavy consciousness to it. And there's a lot of shame built in it. But it's like, hey, past expenditures, I should be grateful for that credit card that took me through those months when I needed it the most. If you can bring gratitude to the things that you spent in the past, you will be able to pay it off so much quicker and get ahead so much quicker because there's not the shame and the guilt and the embarrassment to it. So swap debt for past expenditures. And then have some ownership over your language. So instead of saying, I want that, but I can't have it, just start saying, I can totally have it. I just choose not to right now, and take back your choice. Celebrate every single dollar that comes across your path and celebrate it and be in worship with your money. I have money on my altar. I have money in my wallet. I keep money around me. I have my money that I track on my wall here. I have old big checks that came in that I have up on my board. I have pictures over on a collage that remind me of my success and my accomplishments. So count your money, track your money, be with your money, worship your money. And know your money-making activities and keep them sacred. So some of the work we're going to be doing in the coming weeks in Creatrix Calling is really knowing what are the activities that move your revenue forward, and keep those activities as sacred and prioritize those actions. So know that you are powerful enough to change your experience of reality whenever you choose. Abracadabra is what I speak becomes real. So this is where I need you to like speak and own what it is that you desire most, and to own your feeling of wanting something, to own your feeling of going after something big and being powerful enough to interrupt your pattern of scarcity. So here's a big one here: starting conversations about prosperity, abundance, and celebrating the amazing access to resources, and then teach others about prosperity. So I dare you to bring up and ask the question, where do you feel most prosperous in your life at a dinner conversation? The more you're activating this in other people, the more you're going to experience it for yourself. The moment that I started teaching about prosperity and helping people make money, it was like something unlocked in my system. Like all day, I mean, you can imagine all day long, I'm talking about creative ways to monetize businesses and coming up with really brilliant and cool ideas for people to make more money doing what they love and serving. And obviously that's brought me so much prosperity. And you know, there's a long way I still have to go, but I mean, it's fucking rad that I've been able to create this. And that's what I care so much about helping other people do, is like that financial sovereignty, because this was not the path that was going to be my path. So start conversations, spend time with your money and love your money by watching it and measuring it and collecting it and breathing it in, make it a game. I always have cash in my wallet. I like 300 is my number. I like to have $300 cash. So I'm getting cash out of the ATM and spending cash and being with my money. So find ways to make it tangible. In short, allow money to make you feel good. The universe responds to that which makes you feel alive and brings an abundance of that to you. So feel good, be turned on, love your money, create that relationship with money, be curious about money, find new ways to track money, try new apps, check in on your money, have money dates. And the more you can be with money and in the celebration of money, the more that it can expand, the more you can make money a game, and making money a game, which is why I love the calendar, dry erase. You write in every time you get paid. It's like, how many times can I fill in the boxes? And then I love this one: treat your business like sex, pleasure your way to the climax. Like when you're having sex, you're working for it, but you're enjoying the work for it, right? Sorry, I should make those like pounding noises. Next level. But seriously, like treat your business like, okay, I'm doing these 40 market research calls. Like how much pleasure can I find in this right now? Like I was doing a launch and I was feeling really overworked, and my business partner was traveling, and I was like, my attitude was like, me. I was like, I'm overworked, and like we should have somebody else be doing these screening calls. And I switched my attitude about it, and I was like, I'm going to show up to this. How pleasurable can I make it? I'm just going to go walk around Barton Springs while I take these sales calls. And I hustled my little buns and I closed tens of thousands of dollars. And it was a switch of attitude. So pleasure your way to the climax, pleasure your way to the launch, switch your attitude about money when you feel like it's getting hard. And look, there's going to be times in Creatrix Calling you're like, Jolie, I don't want to, like, it's so much work. I need you to find the pleasure. I need you to switch your attitude. I need you to find a way to feel good. Know this: those who figure out the energy of money are the ones who create lots of it. So this is your invitation to figure out the energy of money, to be curious, to be patient with yourself, to ask yourself, what actions could I choose right now that are going to set me up for life, that are going to set up generations behind me, that's going to set up my huge, massive contribution and service to the planet. And, you know, you may already have a great relationship and energy with money, but then what's your next? I'm here to challenge you to discover where's that next edge and that next level that you can play at, because I only work with people that have a mission on the planet and that really care about pushing humanity forward and care about sharing the consciousness codes and the healing codes. And so you're here working with me because I believed in you and I saw you. And so I need you to do your part in finding the areas that you can upgrade your prosperity consciousness so we can get you out there in the world and being the shining light and winning. All right, here's some prosperity mindset actions. Do the things you love often. Stay turned on, dear. Book your time with family. Create spaciousness. Weekly body treatments. Like, actually, if you know that you thrive on massages, I need that to be in your calendar once a week. Do the thing that makes your body come alive. Look at this girl. Look at her breathing in life. I need you to breathe in life like that. So for me, I love getting IV drips. I have an IV drip membership. I'm really good about getting massages, the way that I eat and juice, the way that I have fun, the spaciousness that I give myself. So when you invest back in your business, you really give a communication to your business that you're serious, hiring the coaches and the healers that you want, being generous and treating others, trusting that your future is safe instead of worrying, being organized and following through, and allowing yourself to have new experiences. So let me ask you, what are the things that you do in life that make you feel prosperous? I need you to make a priority in doing those. And it could be random. It could be just like, oh my gosh, when my nails are done and they are red, oh my gosh, girl, I slay. If that's your thing, I need you to do that thing. I need you to know yourself, and you know yourself by now. So I need you to do the things that make you feel prosperous and to stay in that place of expansion. So the strategies, here's the foundation of success in your life and business. So number one, cultivate your relationship with money. So commit to a daily prosperity practice, especially if you've been in scarcity for a while. So what are you going to do every single day that's going to make you feel expansive? Are you going to be more present? Are you going to slow down? Are you going to keep money in your wallet? Are you going to create time in your calendar to be with money? I need you to know yourself here and know what you need and make time for that. I'm going to teach you how to journal and write letters to money. And so when I was transforming my relationship with money, I did 30-day letters to money every single day until I felt the shift, until I felt that something was massive was taking place in my life. To pay attention to money, to keep money dates scheduled in your calendar. And number one here, clear your space. So we talked about this in the first module, but I need you to take it to the next level. Anything that makes you feel in scarcity, I need you to know your triggers, and we need to remove those triggers. So your home, in your relationships, your desk, your car, your business, it all matters. Think of your space like a temple. We need a very clear, energetic temple so this prosperity can flow through, because you come in here with a big expectation of yourself to create, and I need the foundation to be solid so I can work my magic with you. So number one, clear your space. Number two, take yourself on prosperity dates. So this is my favorite thing that I invented. And it's about being in the frequency of money. So your assignment is to go take yourself on a prosperity date and indulge your senses. So you can go to the bougiest hotel and sit in the lobby and order yourself your favorite drink or appetizer and just breathe in the experience of opulence and prosperity. Go take yourself to the fanciest hotel. Go to a high-end department store and try on the most expensive cashmere sweater. Like you go to like Neiman Marcus, there's like multiple $1,000 sweaters. Just go be in the energy and feel into your prosperity. You could go to, if it's nature that makes you feel most prosperous, you can go into nature and go into art galleries. The thing is to challenge yourself to go on a very particular date with the intention of breathing in and being in the frequency of prosperity. So I had a client who actually decided to go take an appointment at one of the most high-end apartment complexes in Austin. And she was touring an apartment, I think it was $12,000 a month. And she went through the whole motion of like, okay, she was taking on if that was a fit and if she could actually afford that and actually be in the frequency of it. And so she went through the whole thing as if like she was just owning it. And the next week, so the rent was $12,500 and some change. And the next week, she got a call from an old job that she had. She used to be a nurse, and they needed to cash out her like 401k, and it had $12,500 in it. So play with magic here, right? So she was in the frequency of 12.5, and she got $12,500. So this freaking works. I'm telling you, this is where we get to work on the level of frequency, work on the level of magic. I need you to use the power of intention, use your brain, use your mind to indulge your senses in this experience. So this is going to be an assignment for you. I'll get you set up on that at the end of this presentation. And then call on the goddess Lakshmi. So I have a Lakshmi in my courtyard that faces my house, and you can do some research on her, but she is the divine embodiment of prosperity. And you can keep Lakshmi around. You can read about Lakshmi. You can do a Lakshmi meditation. But she really does have like the essence if you're into that. If that's your thing. If not, you don't need goddess Lakshmi. But that's your thing. Keep some Lakshmi around you. All right, restore integrity with your money. This is an important one. So develop an accounting and tracking system and stick to it. I need you to create a new habit here, and I need you to pay any lingering bills. So that parking ticket, that tax bill, that thing that your friend owes, whatever it is, I need you to restore integrity with your money. I learned a lot of this in Landmark. Integrity just means workability. So if a bicycle tire is out of integrity, it means there's like a flat and it doesn't work. The integrity is like the non-workability. So if you want your money to work for you, you need to restore workability and restore integrity. And so I need you to respect and plug any energy leakages that you may have. So set up a system for bookkeeping and tracking. Like, it's so disrespectful to money to not track it. It really, truly is. To not be with your money. I mean, I think I shared this before, but I didn't even know when I had hit a 6-figure business because I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't tracking it. Like, and that was, you guys, that was the thing that I wanted so badly, was a 6-figure business. And I put so much, I said, all I want is my 6-figure business. And I didn't even know when it happened because I wasn't even paying attention, you know? Imagine asking for something and then they show up for you and they're like, hello, you've been asking for me. You're not even grateful that I'm here. So set up your system and stick to it. Keep all business expenses and incoming money in one dedicated account. Like, really pay attention to this stuff. I mean, I really need you to take it seriously and professional. And then I need you to set up a spreadsheet, or you can use an app with all your recurring expenses and desired budget, and not just put this stuff on autopilot. Like, actually pay attention to what's coming out of your bank account and pay attention to expenses. And it's like amazing to me how many people don't watch. And I've gone through phases too, where I'm like, oh, there's too many details. But like, we need to pay attention. We need to have our eyes on it. Oh, there was like one time in Corey Michelle's workshop, this woman was like, I'm just going to hire somebody to manage all my money for me. And Corey's like, yeah, let me know how that works out for you. Like, Tony Robbins didn't watch his company for 2 years and went really close to bankrupt. You're not willing to watch your money and manage that in your business. Like, good luck growing it. You can't outsource this stuff. I mean, you definitely can outsource the bookkeeping and the managerial, but if you're not watching your money, if you're like, I don't want to see it. I mean, it's just the wrong communication. So number 4, own your worth. We're going to do a lot of work on this, but own your high-end prices. Stand in it fully. Go into pitches with your prosperity mindset. Create and set yourself up for multiple revenue streams and monthly recurring revenue. I'm going to help you do this. Don't sell your hours for money. It's not for sale. Your hours are not for sale. So if you're still doing any sort of hourly something, we'll whip you into shape. And it's okay. You're not wrong for having done it. Everyone starts somewhere. I started at hourly, but your hours are not for sale. And your value is for sale, and your energy is for sale, and your essence is for sale. But like, nobody can just buy you for an hour. It's like too cheap. You're too brilliant for that. So you sell your vibration, your energy, your expertise. So my sweetness, I need you to declare yourself as worthy. You were born worthy. Declare yourself as prosperous. You were born a creatrix. You were made for this. Nature did not design you to struggle. Nature did not design you to be in scarcity and fear. So please, please do yourself a favor and break the patterns of the past. Show up for yourself in a new way. Create a new script. And here are the assignments that are for this week that are going to support in this. So number 1, take yourself on a prosperity date and post it in the Facebook group. It's a bonus if you go live and show us what you're doing and give us a glimpse into your prosperity date so we can see it and celebrate you. If you're in the moment, you don't want to do that, just snap a picture so we can see you. Take yourself on at least 1 prosperity date, at least 1. Bonus if you want to do more than that. And I do them every week. I'm always taking advantage of going into like 4 seasons to work, going to like really fun new places, and like I dress up for my work. You know, I've shared with you guys, I love to do coffee shops on Mondays and Fridays. You should see me when I walk into the W on a Friday. It's like, watch out, world. And it's so fun. And I have fun with it. So take yourself on that prosperity date, have fun with it, dress for the occasion, and breathe in the frequency of your highest prosperity. Subscription spreadsheet. So create a Google spreadsheet or use an app like Truebill. I'm just now trying out Truebill. I actually really like it. basically it'll go through, you set it up. This is true though. You set it up with your bank account. So you log in from your bank account. It's a free app, and it goes through all of your transactions and finds for you your monthly subscriptions, and then aggregates them and puts them in a report. So I need you to start paying attention to your recurring subscriptions, and then cancel the ones that you're not using. It's just wasteful. You know, if you're not using the thing, go ahead and pause or cancel it. And then here's your money assignment, your money journaling. So you're going to write some letters. So I need you to write, I need you to contemplate from my beginning story, the money habits and points of view for whoever raised you and who passed down what to you. So number one, you're going to write a letter, your current relationship with money. So what's happening? What are you saying with money? Just get real with yourself. And then I want you to write down the things that you learned. So in this current money relationship, the things you learned from mom and dad or your caretakers. What is it that they taught you? What is it that you're perpetuating? And then what's currently happening? Maybe you're sharing finances in your current relationship. What is being triggered? It's maybe very extremely vulnerable, but what's being triggered in your relationship? And how is maybe your partner affecting you and with money? So current relationship with money, be upfront, be vulnerable. Let us see you in this. And number two, a letter to money. So it can sound something like, money, I am so sorry I've been pushing you away and pretending like you don't matter. What I want more than anything is for you to know how much I love and respect and adore you. So you're writing a letter to money as if it were your greatest lover. We're going to do some work on the energetic level and vibrational level to seduce money, to come back into harmony and integrity with money. So be as crafty, as poetic, as romantic as you could possibly be in your letter to money. And then you're going to write a letter from money to you. So it sounds something like, oh my gosh, love, I've been waiting for you to come back for me. I want nothing more than to shower you with prosperity and abundance so you can serve your highest mission on the planet. And thank you so much for wanting me. I'm here for you. I've always wanted you. So channel your money to you. And then go ahead and take a picture of this, share it in the Facebook group, and then we're going to discuss this on our call together. So I know that this is vulnerable. I know that I'm asking you to do a lot here and really look into your money and tell the truth about something, and maybe confronting and it may be uncomfortable, but I promise you that if you go there with me, there's a lot that I'm able to do in your launch in your business, and I want to take you there. I want this to be the greatest money-making experience of your life. I'm so committed that you see our results in this coaching program that is beyond what you imagined, and you experience yourself entirely differently. So I'm committed to you. I know you can do this. I've helped so many people interrupt their pattern with money and create a new story, and we need to do this work in order to open up our great launches. So go ahead and complete those exercises. Get the expanding your capacity to receive money meditation, and then I'll see you in our coaching circle to go over all of this. Thank you so much. Bye now.